I'd like you to imagine that you are Luke the physician. You're going to write your gospel, your good news story, and you're with Simon Peter, who is telling you about what happened when he was called to become a follower, a disciple of Jesus. So here we go. Simon says, "It all began when he came to stay at our house. He'd already healed so many people, including my wife's mother, who had a fever. She could have died. Imagine the impact that would have on our family, on my wife, on the children. And coming to stay with us was a strange thing to do. You wouldn't normally go out of your way to stay at the home of where someone was sick. You might even catch it. But he seemed to know that he was needed. I've known Jesus for a while. His uncle, old Zebedee, the boys, John and James, have had a lot to do with him. Jesus often walks around these parts, and sometimes he goes out with them on their boat. Zebedee and I are fishing partners, so I've known this family all my life. But during this visit, it seemed that I was the one that Jesus had chosen. I was the one he'd set his sights on. I felt so honoured. So the day after my mother-in-law recovered, Jesus came down the beach when we were sitting mending our nets. After all the miracle healings, there were swarms of people all trying to get close to him. Jesus wanted to address them, but he needed a bit of space. There were 2 boats sitting on the shore, and he asked me to push my boat out into the water a bit. He wanted to use mine for some reason. Jesus got into the boat and I pushed him out. And he started teaching the people. He's a lovely speaker. It's always beautiful to listen to him. Though I can't for the life of me tell you what he was talking about that day. When he'd finished his teaching, he asked me to row out into deep water and to put the nets down for a catch. I laughed. At first I thought he must be joking. We're night fishermen. We don't go out during the day. But I do it to please him. I'm too polite to tell him what I really think. Tired too. We were out all night after the crowd left last night. Out in the lashing rain and the wind, and we hardly caught anything. So even though I thought it was a rubbish idea to go fishing in the middle of the day, I let down my nets. It was nice to spend time with Jesus on my own. I enjoyed having him to myself. But what came next absolutely took my breath away. All the nets were bursting to breaking point. They were so full of fish. How could that even happen? And Jesus just sitting there laughing. Anyway, we called back to the shore, managed to get the boys' attention, and they came rowing out to us in the other boats. While we loaded it onto the 2 boats, they were weighed right down in the water. The catch was so heavy. Our muscles were straining just to row those boats back to the shore. But think of the money that we could get from the market, especially with all these crowds around. We'd be able to pay off our taxes, our debt to the Romans as well. What a relief that would be. But I have to tell you, this miracle really shook me to the core. But catching all those fish, that really was a miracle in my opinion. James and John could be his disciples, all right. They're young. They come from a good, God-fearing family. Innocent as the day is long. But not me. Jesus doesn't know what I'm really like. He doesn't know what I think about. He doesn't know what I've done. Rabbis need promising people to be their disciples. Clever people, not rough, illiterate fishermen like me. You see, I know that deep down I am flawed. I make so many mistakes. I've done stupid things. I've got a big mouth. And this man, Jesus, he's sent from God, I'm sure of it. He seems to give off this light. He's holy, and I'm not holy. My heart's hammering inside my chest, and I drop to my knees and I shout at him, "Go away from me, Lord, leave me now. I'm not the one you want. Just go." I look up, but Jesus is smiling. "Don't be afraid, Simon," he says. "From now on, you'll be fishing for me, fishing for folk." You know, that miracle catch changed our lives completely. By the time those boats were pulled right up onto the shore, I'd already made up my mind. Leave this profitable little fishing business. I decided to leave everything to follow Jesus. It's a prophet, I'm sure, a miracle-working prophet. He grabs your attention. He makes my heart sing. Could he even be the chosen one, the Messiah? And so that is how I became his disciple. I thought I was a seasoned fisherman, but this rabbi showed that he was even better than me. He hauled the three of us in that day, hook, line and sinker. We were his catch of the day.